My money all stamped in blue indigo. Shiny things on my chain, that's go Figaro. You can't stand little bitch, need to let it go. I'm the man, dirty dang, you a silly hoe. Suburban broad with the heat. Always got baddies up in my jeans. Whip it so proper, I'm crossing my T's. Love on my wrist is aesthetically freezing.
What's going on, world? It's your boy Oscino back with another review. Well, not really another review, but this is more like a talking point. And the talking point I want to talk about is Logic's new song, "Confession of a Dangerous Mind." Now, anybody know I'm from the DMV area, especially from PG County, Maryland. So, and Logic, he's from Maryland too. So, obviously, him being a rapper that's from my area, I've always had a lot of attention to him. His new video, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, is very interesting video. First things first, it's a very simple video, but it speaks a lot from its simplicity. Like, as you see, he's coming in, I would say stay from left to right, and he, or at least to the middle of the screen, and he looks normal, and a little stocky, like he's been hitting the gym. But other than that, he's coming in from his left, and then when you turn around, you notice there's a slit on his neck, and it's like really gashing, like a real gashing. So and then you notice that every time he starts rapping, the blood starts flowing, and like he's just like rapping about how the industry. You could tell he was rapping from how the industry. His images in the industry, how sometimes there's fans that fuck with him, there's fans that don't fuck with him, there's fans that think he's corny, or there's fans, that say you will never amount to Kendrick or J. Cole or some of the top rappers, and this is where I want most of my talking point to, because I feel like a look into that video is both on him. And you could tell, like, the shit and the message I got from the video, really, to keep it simple, is like this rap shit is killing me inside. And I feel like that's what the blood represented, and him keep rapping, it just represent. From what I watched, it made me think, yeah, the rap shit is killing him. I think us from a fan point, we really see these rappers as like they made it, they get to make music they like, they tour all you want, they have all these adoring fans and all that other stuff. And I will admit, Logic is probably one of the most made fun of rappers in this era. Probably, especially like when he came out with that album, Everybody just ran with that joke, he's biracial and all that other stuff, and he talks about that album was mostly talking about him being biracial and all that other stuff. He talks on suicide a lot, and which is good. I feel like people should open up about, suicide, especially if you really need help. You should really talk about it. What's the things I got about it is, like, I feel like most of that is coming from not his fans, but also rap critics like me. Especially since I've called him Diet Kendrick a lot, especially like some of his older ones where he will rap like Kendrick. And even in the Young Sinatra 4, he would say, like, he would get some of his cues from Kendrick and Cole and a lot of rappers he would emulate. And so, but this is why, but at the same, like, I get it, I'm the one of the people that says that to him, but at the same time, he says it himself, he gets it from these rappers. So I say you rap like a Diet Kendrick, or when I call you Diet Kendrick, I'm not doing that to make fun of you. There's some stuff you do that sound like it will fit on a Kendrick song, or it was on a Kendrick song. Another thing is, and I've said this about Wale too, and I feel like Logic is under that umbrella, you give a fuck too much about what people say. And I feel like every artist is sensitive about their shit, especially when you feel like you put out your best work and people call it trash. Music is subjective. I think one thing you gotta make sure music is subjective, but as a critic, you gotta, that's why as most critics, they try to be really fair and not so much of an asshole when we critique, because these are human beings. a lot of the music is subjective to what we hear. If we don't like it, we can just say we don't like it. We don't have to call it trash or bad or shitty. Even if them albums are shitty, I'm not gonna lie. I've called albums shitty. I've called them albums bad. But sometimes with us critics, especially, I'm a fan of Logic. Like sometimes, especially in songs like this, that's the type of Logic I want. Like this is his. I feel like I get this sometimes. This is the Logic instead of Logic the fan, as myself and someone like an Anthony Fantano has always said. You feel like you're rapping from a rap fan standpoint, not from a rapper standpoint. And sometimes I feel like with this he puts it on himself. Sometimes you gotta, and J. Cole said this to Wale, sometimes you give a fuck too much about what the fans think or what the media thinks and all the other stuff. Just make music for you, and I think that's what's killing him, because I feel like he wants to be one of the greatest rappers and he wants to have all the stats to back to him. Same thing with Wale. He wants approval from a lot of people, not from just his fans, from people that are not his fans, from his peers, and you can tell he really wants it badly, and I don't feel like people give it to him. Logic is under that same umbrella, and it's funny because they're both from the DMV area. With that said, Logic, from me to you, I am a fan. Like this got me looking forward to like your next project, whatever your project is going to drop. But at the same time, if I may say, just like any other person, or just like J. Cole said to Wale, you're a couple albums in and all that other stuff. Just make songs for your fans, take care of your family and all that other stuff. Try not to give a fuck so much. Because once you give a fuck so much, I feel like that's where your anxiety and your these thoughts of depression and these thoughts of suicide comes up. Even if, I don't know if you talked about suicide in this one, but because I did listen to it a couple times, especially like when you like pull out your phone and it's like you say things like people call you a fag and all that other stuff. And one thing I can say about that video that most people is never gonna catch, at the end when he's all bloody and his shirt is all bloody, his face is all bloody, and he's done rapping, he smiles at the end and walks off. And that's another thing, is like, I feel like that was another symbolism. People like casting their emotions, or they're setting their emotions aside, or even if they're feeling bad, they try to hide it with a smile and to let people know that it's okay. So I hope I get this Logic without the biracialness, but this Logic and like with a little bit of his, lyrical wordplay, because I also like that Logic, because his flow was good. I hope I get a mixture of this Logic and the lyrical wordplay Logic, and it comes up with a great album. Dope song, dope video concept. I feel, and this is all my thoughts of what's going through that video. I even had to stop it, like, just to make this video what I thought. So Logic, kudos, great thoughts. Before I get one more thing, because like I don't watch it again, and I figured there was some things that was missing, especially at the end. Put your ego on your shelf and love yourself. I feel like when he says that, it's even about him. Like, even he has to take a break from the life and everything on social media, and I feel like that's a message for everybody. It's like sometimes we let social media influence our lives. We look at other people's lives. We try to keep up with the Joneses and all that other stuff. Sometimes we can work on ourselves better and all that other stuff. So I feel like, and this is, like I said, this is all my opinion. When he says put your ego on your shelf and love yourself, sometimes it's like we're our own worst critic, and we're like, sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. So like, we need to take a step back, maybe get off social media, take a breather, and do what he did in the video. He hugged himself, because obviously you saw the cell phone, you saw the gun, saw the cigarettes. He was like, none of that shit worked for him. So obviously I was right about him thinking about suicide. Yeah, so put the ego on the shelf and love yourself. Overall, I think that was everything about that was dope. What did y'all think? Did y'all think it was cool? Did y'all like it? Let me know in the comments. Today I'm Oscino Fly and I'm out. Peace.
Fuck a girl, fuck a woman, fuck a freaking, fuck a bitch. Fuck a bitch, fuck a